The org chart on the wall tells you who reports to whom. It does not tell you who actually decides things, who controls what information reaches whom, and whose opinion determines outcomes before the meeting even starts. Every organization has two structures: the formal one, the one on the slide deck, and then there is the real one. The real one is invisible. It is built from relationships, information flows, and the ability to shape how decisions are framed before they are made. Understanding the real structure is not about becoming political in a cynical sense. It is about operating with an accurate map instead of a misleading one. And in this video, I am going to give you the tools to draw that map, specifically for your own organization. Here is a scenario most professionals have experienced. A decision is made, and everyone in the meeting knew it was going to be made that way. Before they walked in, the discussion happened, points were raised, questions were asked, and yet, somehow, the outcome was never really in doubt. That is not a coincidence. It is the real power structure operating. Someone, or a small group of people, had already aligned on the outcome. The meeting was not where the decision was made. The meeting was where it was ratified. The org chart cannot show you this. The org chart is a map of accountability. Who is responsible for what, and who reports to whom. It is useful for that purpose, but it is almost useless for understanding how influence actually flows, where decisions actually form, and which relationships actually determine who advances. In video 1 of this series, I introduced the promotion triangle, the roles of visibility, trust, and narrative in career advancement. In video 2, we examined how average performers optimize for factors that high performers often neglect. Both of those conversations rest on a foundation. You need to know who the real decision makers are before you can manage your visibility, your trust, or your narrative effectively. That is what today is about. Power in organizations moves through 3 channels, not the org chart. 3 distinct channels, each operating simultaneously, each with different rules. Once you can see all 3, the behavior of almost everyone around you becomes significantly more legible. Channel 1, information. This is the most immediately tangible form of organizational power. The person who controls what information reaches whom and when controls the frame within which decisions are made. This is why certain roles accumulate influence that seems disproportionate to their seniority. Executive assistants who manage communication access. Chiefs of staff who filter what reaches a C-suite leader. Project managers who coordinate across teams and therefore see everything, while most individuals see only their portion. Information power is not necessarily held by the most senior people. It is held by the people at the junctions, the nodes in the network where multiple information streams converge. Identifying those people in your organization is one of the most useful things you can do. Channel 2, relationships. This is the oldest and most durable form of organizational power. The person who has invested years in genuine relationships with people across multiple levels and functions has built something that cannot be acquired quickly. When a difficult situation arises, a difficult personnel decision, a politically sensitive project, a disagreement that needs resolving, the person with broad relationship capital is the one who gets the call. And getting the call is where real influence lives. Relationship power is also the most resistant to disruption. Reorganizations reshuffle the org chart. They do not reshuffle trust networks. The person who built strong relationships across the organization before the reorg finds their influence largely intact afterwards. The person who invested primarily in their own function finds themselves starting over. Channel 3, narrative control. This is the most underestimated channel, and often the most powerful in practice. Narrative control is the ability to shape how situations, people, and decisions are interpreted before others have formed their own view. It is not spin. It is the recognition that in any ambiguous situation, the first credible frame tends to stick. The person who regularly frames problems for decision makers, who says, "Here is what is happening, here is what it means, here is the choice we face," is exercising enormous influence regardless of their formal authority. Conversely, the person who waits for others to frame situations before responding is always operating within someone else's narrative. That is a structurally weak position, no matter how senior you are. These three channels interact and reinforce each other. Information access enables better relationship conversations. Strong relationships enable narrative influence. Narrative influence creates access to better information. The people who have developed all three channels are genuinely powerful, in a way that org chart position alone cannot create or take away. Here is what is changing. AI is fundamentally disrupting Channel 1, information power, in a way that is creating new vacuums in Channels 2 and 3. And most organizations have not yet understood what this means for their internal power dynamics. Information asymmetry has historically been a primary source of organizational power. The person who knew something others did not had leverage. The person who controlled the synthesis of complex information held a structural advantage. AI is compressing that asymmetry dramatically. Research tasks that once required days now take hours. Synthesis that once required senior expertise can now be produced by someone with a well-constructed prompt and basic domain knowledge. What does this mean for the power map? It means that the individuals and roles whose power was primarily built on information control are becoming relatively less powerful. And the individuals whose power is built on relationship depth and narrative authority are becoming relatively more powerful. That is a significant structural shift. But there is a fourth node emerging on the power map. I call it AI orchestration authority. This is the emerging power held by the person who understands how to deploy AI intelligently across a team or organization, who to trust it, when to override it, and how to build workflows that make others more effective. This is not a technical role, it is a judgment role, and it is accumulating influence inside organizations at a rate that most senior leaders have not yet fully registered. The power map of your organization in 2028 will look meaningfully different from the one today. The question is whether you are mapping it now, or waiting to discover it after the terrain has already shifted. Here is the practical exercise. Block 1 hour this week. Do this alone, on paper or in a private document. 4 steps. Step 1, map the decisions. Write down the 5 most consequential decisions made in your organization in the last 6 months. Not your team's decisions, the decisions that shape the environment your team operates in. For each one, who actually made the call? Not whose name is on the paper. Who decided? Step 2, trace the information flows. For each decision, who had the relevant information beforehand? Who synthesized it? Who presented it? If the same names appear repeatedly, those are your information brokers, significant power, regardless of title. Step 3, identify the pre-wire conversations. Most decisions are made informally, before they are made formally. For each decision, who had the conversation that made the outcome predictable? Those are your Channel 2 power holders. Step 4, find the framers. Who defined the question? Who said, the issue is this, the options are these, here is how we choose between them? The person who frames the decision has already won, before anyone has voted. These are your narrative shapers, and they are not always the most senior people in the room. When you finish all 4 steps, you will have a working map of your organization's real power structure. It will look significantly different from the org chart. Now, 3 things become possible. You can target your visibility accurately toward the people who actually make decisions, not the people who appear to. You can identify the relationships worth building deliberately, the information brokers, the connectors, the framers, not just the most senior names above you. And you can find your narrative opportunity, the emerging issues where no one has claimed the frame yet. That unclaimed territory exists in most organizations right now, especially around AI. One important note, this is not a cynical exercise. The most effective people in organizations are not the most manipulative. They are the ones who understand how the system works and build genuine influence within it. The map is a diagnostic tool, not a manipulation playbook. Operating inside an organization without a power map is like navigating a city using only the metro system. You can get around, but you will miss most of what is actually happening. The map does not make the terrain simpler, it makes it legible, and legibility is the foundation of effective action. The next video goes directly to what connects here, your reputation. Specifically, how AI is quietly rewriting the way you are perceived inside your organization, and what you can do about it before it happens to you rather than for you. See you in the next one.